Welcome to the New Year's issue of Japan Market Headlines with my commentary. One would have thought December might be slow in Japan, but no, plenty of things going on. Let's start off with the third offshore wind auction. As we all know, there's several, especially European offshore wind companies fighting for position in Japan. Unfortunately, this third auction um, it was all Japanese consortium. So once again, the Japanese swept the auction. Next up, so the government finally released its new plan, which they do every couple of years. Um, Kind of interesting. They've increased the amount of renewables and GHG reduction targets, etc. The difference is the initial plan a couple of years back, or the last plan I should call it, called for 2030 targets. This time around, it calls for 2040 targets. In my view, they've come to realize that there's no way they're going to hit the 2030 targets. So, hey, let's push it all back and increase the numbers a few percent for 2040. What's also interesting in this plan is it doesn't really call for any more nuclear. In fact, less nuclear. The last plan called for 22 to 24% nuclear by 2030. The new plan calls for 20% by 2040. So another little interesting tidbit, METI published a analysis report on the cost of different types of generation, everything from coal and renewables, et cetera, biomass. And they come out that solar is by far the cheapest, and actually not even close to build and generate power. And of course, for all the fossil fuel, they added the cost of GHG and CO2 reductions and so forth. So it's kind of hard to tell. You can't tell by looking at the numbers how much they added for that. So in a classic Japanese major company move, where JERA got nailed a month or so ago for market manipulation, which was pretty dramatic. So JERA has come out and said, yep, we did it. So sorry. It's all because of internal controls, which I don't know what that means, but one assumes somebody got blamed and got shipped off to the equivalent of Siberia or something. So in other JERA news, the original contract with Chubu and TEPCO, when the JERA was formed, just a bit of history, they took the fossil fuel from Chubu and TEPCO to form JERA, and in exchange, JERA and TEPCO got, or Chubu and TEPCO bought back long-term supply agreements. Well, those end a year from March, so you got another year and a half to give or take. So now JERA is out looking for new long-term off-takers because those contracts are not required to be renewed. So also interesting in the month of December, well, the temperatures were never really hit, fairly mild for the time of year. Spot market, activity jumped another 5% on JEPIX, even though spot prices were down a bit. So the Tokyo government backed a new fund, they're about 20% of the investment of 8 billion yen or 550 million to pursue best projects in TEPCO's territory. That should be challenging. So ICE, Intercontinental Exchange, probably the biggest market, in the world, formally announced a few weeks back the Japan futures market. The products look a lot like EEX and TOCOM. This makes the fourth futures market in Japan. Don't forget CME is there, although CME hasn't done a trade in over a year. So we'll see how that one plays out. So the prediction for 2025, based on the last 90 days of visits and talks and so forth, I think 2025, we're going to see at least another half a dozen, maybe more international traders enter the Japan market on the physical side. And there's so much interest now from international investors in BESS and renewables. So we keep seeing new funds popped up, a lot of people chasing the same projects. So we're going to see, I think, a lot more activity from international players in 2025 and beyond. Thanks for watching.